This is the Generac 8,000-watt gas-powered portable generator, and it looks every bit like a heavy-duty tool meant to work hard. The orange and black frame is a 1.25-inch steel tube cradle, and it gives the whole machine a rugged, squared-off stance. The open frame leaves the engine and alternator exposed for airflow and service, and the big steel tank sits up top with a simple fuel gauge you can read at a glance. It's not sleek or trimmed to hide the hardware. It's honest, industrial, and built to take knocks. From my experience, the weight is the first real-world hurdle. At about 214 pounds, this is not something I would ever plan to lift. The saving grace is the never-flat wheels and a fold-down locking handle. Unpack dirt or a lumpy yard, I can roll it without drama. It's the kind of portability that's realistic for a machine this size. Move it like a cart, park it on a safe, flat surface outside, and get to work. Key features that stand out to me start with PowerRush. Generac rates this model to deliver up to 40% more starting capacity than its base output when big motors kick on. In plain terms, that extra burst helps with deep well pumps, central AC compressors, and other loads that ask for a surge before settling down. The rated 8,000 running watts and about 10,000 starting watts give a wide comfort zone for home backup. I've used it to keep refrigerators cold, a sump pump running, lights on, and networking gear stable, while still having room for a 240-volt load through the twist lock. The outlets are laid out in a way that makes sense even if you're new to generators. There are 2 GFCI duplexes for standard 120-volt plugs, which means 4 household outlets protected against ground faults. There's also a 120/240 30A L1430R twist lock. If you plan to power multiple circuits in your house safely, that twist lock is the one you use with a manual transfer switch installed by an electrician. That switch isolates the home from the grid, so power doesn't backfeed utility lines. If that sounds complicated, the short take is this: the L1430 is the right connector to tie into a home panel the correct way. The engine is a 439cc 4-stroke OHV, and in my opinion, that's a sweet spot for durability and output in this class. It sips from a large steel tank, and at a 50% load, Generac rates it for up to about 11 hours. I've gotten through the night without refueling when I manage the loads, and that is a big deal during multi-day outages. The hour meter is simple but incredibly useful. I use it to schedule oil changes and keep a log. Low oil shutdown is there as a safety net, and COsense is the standout safety feature I hope never needs to intervene. The sensor watches for carbon monoxide and will shut the unit down if levels get dangerous. It's a strong reminder to run any fuel-powered generator only outdoors in open air, far from windows and doors. Electric start is another convenience I value. Hitting a switch to fire a cold engine when the power's out at 2 a.m. is exactly the kind of stress relief I want. That said, I'm going to be straightforward about the battery. From my experience, the included battery can be hit or miss. I've seen units arrive with weak batteries, and I've seen batteries fade faster than I'd like. The plug-in charge jack helps keep it topped up, but I still treat the pull start as my ultimate backup plan. If you want this to start reliably on the switch, keep the battery on a maintainer between seasons and give it a test run monthly. Noise is what you'd expect from an open-frame generator of this size. I wouldn't call it quiet. The tone is steady, and once it's parked away from living spaces, it's manageable, but it's not something I'd run close to where I'm trying to sleep. If your priority is low noise over raw wattage, you might prefer an inverter generator, but you'll give up capacity. I've had a mix of smooth sailing and a few annoyances with build details. The core structure feels tough, and the frame and tank take bumps without complaint. I have also come across units with cosmetic imperfections, like thin paint spots or small finish blemishes that don't affect function but still catch my eye. I keep it covered when stored and wipe it down after use, and that's helped me avoid any early rust. My takeaway is that the design is solid, while fit and finish can vary. If I were buying, I'd unbox and inspect thoroughly on day one. For anyone new to generators, a couple of terms are worth clarifying. Running watts are what the machine can supply continuously. Starting watts are a short burst to help devices with electric motors get going. That burst is why PowerRush matters. A refrigerator, sump pump, or AC compressor might need double or triple its running wattage for a split second. Fuel care also matters. Gasoline breaks down, and ethanol blends can gum up small carburetor passages. I add a fuel stabilizer, run the engine every month for 10 to 15 minutes, and either shut the fuel valve and let the engine starve out, or drain the carb if I won't use it for a while. Those simple habits keep starting drama to a minimum. It's perfect for households that need true 240-volt capability in an outage. If you have a deep well, a larger central air unit, or a shop with heavier tools, this wattage class gives you usable headroom. It's also handy for job sites and outdoor projects where extension cords and basic power distribution are the plan. I like that the outlets have covers because dust and stray drizzle are realities when you're working outdoors. From my experience, the control layout is friendly under pressure. The start, run, off switch is obvious, breakers are easy to reset with gloves, and the covered panel reduces the chance of grit getting into the outlets. The wheels and handle make it feasible to move across a yard, and the center of gravity feels right. It doesn't try to tip when I pivot it around tight corners. In my opinion, the biggest trade-offs are weight, noise, and the attention it asks for on maintenance. If you want something you can forget for a year and expect it to fire instantly on stale fuel, any carbureted generator is going to test your patience. This one is no exception. Treat it like a tool you exercise and service, and it pays you back with reliable output when the grid goes dark. I'd recommend this for homeowners who need a dependable 120-240-volt workhorse, people comfortable with basic upkeep like oil changes and fuel management, and anyone who values a straightforward control panel, electric start convenience, and that extra starting muscle from PowerRush. If you prefer a lighter, quieter unit for camping close to others, or you won't keep up with monthly runs and fuel care, you might look at a smaller inverter model and size your loads more conservatively. Key features that keep me confident using it during storms are the steel frame, the long run time at 50% load, the COsense auto shutdown for safety, and the practical outlet set with the L1430 twist lock for a transfer switch. The 439cc OHV engine has a steady sound and doesn't feel strained at typical household loads. Oil checks are simple, and the hour meter takes the guesswork out of service intervals. If you're curious about setup, my routine is simple. I check the oil before the first start, add fresh fuel with stabilizer, open the fuel valve, set the switch to run, use the choke as needed, and hit electric start. After a few minutes of warm-up, I plug in loads, starting with the biggest surge items one at a time. When I'm done, I switch off any connected appliances, remove the loads, let the generator cool down a bit under light load, then shut it off and close the fuel valve. I jot the run time in a notebook so I know when the next oil change is due. In conclusion, this Generac GP8000 delivers real power in a no-nonsense package. It's not small, it's not quiet, and it asks you to participate in its care. In return, it supplies enough wattage to keep a modern home functional through long outages, and has safety features that add peace of mind. The electric start and PowerRush are the quality of life touches that make long nights easier, and the hour meter and covered outlets show someone thought about day-to-day use. I'm happy with what it can do, and I'm honest about what it asks of me. If this video helped, please subscribe and drop your questions or your own experience in the comments. Thank you for watching.